I tried to do it based on snap count. I was like, I'm going to have, like, if someone played, I think it was less than 700 snaps, I didn't put them on. I think that's kind of how I went about it. But like, even 700 is kind of low.
Really?
What?
Less than 700 snaps, they don't get on.
Oh, Blaiden. My God.
Except for one player. We make every exception for Justin Tucker, of course.
Oh my gosh.
Good Lord.
Oh my gosh.
You
You hate Justin Tucker. Why
I don't hate Justin Tucker.
You hate Justin Tucker.
But all rules of the top 100 must be bent he can be in your top 10. And I like Justin Tucker on the list, but top 10, no, he's not.
No, we had this discussion in my NCAA 14 live stream when we played Auburn, because we should have lost our game to Auburn, but their kicker missed 4 field goals. He went 0 for 4, and we won by 3. If you had Justin Tucker out there, guess what? They win that game.
Well, Justin Tucker was available for 700 snaps, Like, he was active.
But yet they didn't put him in.
They didn't put him in for 700 snaps.
Because he's the kicker. If you kick 700 times in a season...
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's an obvious distinction. It's so funny because I put Tucker at 5, and everyone that was the most talked about, like most shit on thing about my list was how high I had him. And then on the NFL's top 100 list, they had him at 94.
91.
And all the comments were way too low, way too low. So no matter where you rank Justin Tucker,
no, that's total bullshit. Lose. That's total bullshit. That's total bullshit.
How?
If I had Stephon Diggs at 5, people would be like, that's way too high. If I had him at 94, I'd be like, it's way too low. Somewhere in between is like, there's other ranks other than 5 and 94.
Okay. Do you think that Joe Mixon is a better football player than Justin Tucker?
I know Devontae Adams is a better football player than Justin Tucker. I know that.
I don't know if that's true.
And here is my real problem with it. It's not that you have Justin Tucker in your top 10s. Okay, fine. But then that's and it's like, well, we're not taking into account positional value. But then you guys, between you, have one other kicker or punter on your entire list.
Yes.
That's taking into account positional value. Justin Tucker shouldn't be the only kicker to not have a kicker tax. And there should be a kicker tax. They don't play as many snaps as like a regular receiver.
Butker and Boswell are like the only other kickers in the whole league that haven't gone through, and even Boswell did a couple of years ago, that have like not had just bad, inaccurate seasons. Like all the other kickers have bounced around or had just some seasons where they were inconsistent. There's only like 2 or 3 of them that would even deserve a place on the list that I can think of. Maybe there's some guys that I'm not thinking of, but kicker in general is a very, very inconsistent position, and there just simply are not that many that are consistently that good. And I would say that there's not a kicker in history who's been as consistently good as Young Oku has also been pretty consistent over the past couple of years. But
Blaiden, this defense does not work for you, by the way.
Oh, I don't need it. He was the most accurate kicker in the league last year with the strongest leg.
Yep. And no other kicker was even a top 100 player.
Yeah, because no other kicker comes.
Because they're kickers. Why wouldn't you put a punter on the list? Because they're punters. Why isn't Justin Tucker a top 5 player in the league?
No one else comes. Kicker. No one else hit a 66-yard field goal.
You need to break the all-time kick record to even sniff the list.
Because it changes.
I'm not saying that Justin Tucker isn't wildly better than every other kicker. I'm saying that having no other special teams player on the list means that, like, sure, is Tucker better than everybody else? Yeah. Does that mean that he shouldn't have a kicker tax? No.
There is not a single special teams player that is on the same level as Justin Tucker.
You don't have to put them on the same level to put them on the list.
Okay. I'm so glad
I'm not arguing against Tucker being the best special teams player in the league. I'm arguing that you can't not give him a kicker tax and then do it for every other player in the league.
I just don't think
That's
there's another
bogus.
special teams player out there who, besides maybe you could say like Cordero Patterson is like a kick returner. But I just don't
Who
think
has
that
the
we're
what? The
seeing, like,
impact? But then are we taking into account impact of these guys?
not the impact, but
Because you
I
can't
think
tell me
there's
it's
no-
like
Are we seeing the greatest? Is AJ Cole like the greatest punter we've ever seen? Are we like witnessing some like historically great punting by any punters in the league right now? I mean, maybe I'm just ignorant of punting in its history. I very well may be, but to me, like Tucker and what he has added in value to the Ravens is head and shoulders. Like there is a case that he is by far the most valuable special teams player in the league. I think like that is
okay. So, but then is your case, if we're doing it by value added, how can you possibly have him at 5?
And I considered them.
How can you possibly say he's the 5th most valuable player in the league if that's how we're looking at it?
It's not.
There's just a lot of mental gymnastics you have to do to have Tucker in the list, and
but if
he's made,
it's not mental gymnastics. If he is the very best at what he does, and he's also adding more value than anybody else that's doing what he does, then I think that's enough to put him in the top 10.
He's made 6 straight All-Pro teams, first or second team. You know, like no one else has done that in the special teams arena.
You guys are missing my point. You guys keep like arguing like, well, he's way better than every other kicker. I agree. Yes. But he is still a kicker. You cannot make just only an exception for him and then every other special teams player screw off. I'm not putting them on the list. I don't care about positional value. Here's my kicker at 5 and then 3 straight quarterbacks.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. If you had Tom Brady as like the head and shoulders best quarterback in the league, but then every other quarterback in the league was like Jimmy Garoppolo, they wouldn't make the list, even though
that gap is not that big. Holy shit.